that by the end of this call, you're going to know how to build a discovery survey, and you're going to know how to launch a segmentation funnel. I'm going to walk you through both of them. We're going to look at reporting. We're going to look at integrating with your email provider. So there's a lot of stuff we're going to be covering over the next, like I said, 35, 45 minutes together. So getting started, the first thing that we want to look at is, of course, building a discovery survey. This is where you're going to put your survey out and have your audience give you insights about the market or whatever other decisions you need to make. One of the quick points I do want to make, though, is the workflow. And actually, the workflow is the same for both the discovery survey and the segmentation funnels. But the way that the workflow works is you start off and you build your survey or your questionnaire, right? And then after you're done building, you'll go into the design phase and make your design tweaks, adding logos, images, colors, and so on. After you're done with the tweaking, you can go into the configure mode, and that's where you'll put those last-minute configurations. You'll connect to your email service provider or connect to Facebook or Google Analytics and things like that. And then finally, once you're done with building, done designing, done configuring your survey or your segmentation funnel, you will publish. And then once you publish, you'll get the link to send out to the world so that they can begin either taking your survey or going through your segmentation funnels. So let's get started in building a discovery survey. I'm going to jump over here into Bucket. Now, when you first log into Bucket, this is the screen you see. And you can see here you can create a new discovery by clicking the blue one. You can create a new segmentation funnel clicking the orange, or you can create a new audience if you click the green. What I also want to show you is another way to get into your Discover surveys and your segmentation funnels, and that is with this top menu. Okay, so when you click Discover at the top, you're taken to the screen that has all of your existing surveys, right? But you can also create a Discover survey from this screen as well, and that's what we're going to do here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to step you through the first couple of steps of creating a new one, and then we're going to go in and look at an existing one built. That way you can see what it looks like once it's built, and I will just kind of show you the elements and how to build your own. All right? So if you're going to create a new Discover survey, what you'll do is you'll click here on the plus sign, and then you're faced with a choice. Do I make a full page or a button? And the difference between the two, the full page is what we're going to be working in today, and that's where the entire screen is all about the survey. So what you could do is, if you're sending out an email, or if you're just sending someone a link to take your survey, then you would use the full page option. If you have like a blog post or your own website, and you just want to put a button on that page or on your website somewhere, you would use the button option. And then what would happen is, whenever someone hits your page, if they wanted to take the survey, they would just click the button and it makes a pop-up with the survey in it. So like I said, for the purpose of our example today, we'll be using the full page option. All right. So once you click that, you'll see that you're asked to give your discovery survey a name. Now it says here add public name, but don't worry, this is not going to be public to anyone else but you. So it's not like your users are going to see this name. This is something that's just going to be public to you in throughout the Bucket app. So name it something that you will instantly recognize later on. And I'm going to kind of show you some of that here. So I'm going to back out of this because I've already got a survey built. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a clone of it. You'll notice what I did there is I clicked, there was 3 dots on that, oops, I don't know what that was all about. There were 3 dots on the survey up here, you see that? And then I clicked on clone, and then it created a copy of the one-on-one bucket.io call. So what I'm going to do now Now that I have a copy of it, I'm going to go in, I'm going to click Edit, and I'm going to walk you through the elements of a survey. All right. So when you get on the, once you click into it, the first thing you see inside of a survey and segmentation funnel is the same way. You're brought to the build screen. Remember earlier I talked about the workflow. The first phase is the build phase, and that's this screen right here. So on the right you have where it says drag and drop your welcome page. You've got drag and drop questions, contact, and thank you page. Okay, so the welcome page is like the landing page for your survey. If you're sending someone to it and you want to tell them about the survey, you would use a welcome page. And to do that, you just grab welcome page over here and drag it over to this section, and boom, it pops up a landing page that you have 100% control over. You can edit the headline. You can edit the subhead or remove it if you don't want to put anything there. You can add an image or a video. And just to let you know about video, you can add a video from any video sharing website that offers video embed code. So YouTube, Facebook, Vimeo, Wistia, anyone that has the embed code with it, you can just paste that embed code here and it'll show up right on your landing page. Or you could just turn it off and not use either. Again, you can add as much or as little copy to your welcome page as you like. You can edit your button call to action. Add some subtext there if you want to. And then what happens is, once you save this, what happens is once someone clicks the Start Survey, they're instantly taken to the first question of the survey, the one that's over here that says Q1. That will be the first thing they see once they click that button. Now, a welcome page is optional, and for this example, we won't be using it, so I'm actually going to delete it. But if you don't have a welcome page, the first thing that your user will see is the first question. So they'll be taken instantly to this Q1 here. Now, let's jump into the question portion of the survey. This is what drives your survey, right? So the options you have are short text, which is the first option here, which is just a one line. If you were asking, someone's city or their name, one word, one sentence answers here, right? The long text is for those open-ended, longer answers, and I'm going to get into some of the configuration for that here in a second. The radio button is the yes or no question, so male or female, or choice questions where you can only choose one of the options. And the checkbox is where you can have multiple options. So if you wanted to give someone the chance to select multiple answers, you would use a checkbox. Okay. So as you can see here, I've got a long text question. All right. And so, and I'm going to walk you through some of the options that you get for that for your survey. So first thing you want to notice here is that for question name, this is where you want to introduce the question. So you'll see I don't have it like a name. I'm not calling it long question one. I'm calling it, I'm using the actual verbiage that the person will see when they get to the survey. So that's important to know, so that when you're crafting your questions, you know this is where you would put the first part of your question, and then you've got the option to put a question description. We can just go a little bit into detail. Now, another option for the long text element is the option to choose the number of rows that are displayed on the form. So as you can see here, I chose 4 rows. That gives the user the idea that they can put as much information as they want into this box. But if you don't want it to look that big, you can drop it down to 3, 2, or even 1 row. It just depends on your needs. But this is where you would choose that info. You can also make it a required question. You can do that with all of the elements. You can make it required, which means they won't be able to move on until they've answered the question. Now, one of the most important parts of the long text element is this option here, where you can make it the single most important question. So if you've got one question that has to be scored higher than any of the others, in this case here, it's the only question on our survey, but if, let's say I had multiple long-form answer or questions that I needed an answer to, but one of those was more important than all the others, I would mark that as the single most important question, and then what bucket.io will do in the reporting area is they'll take special account into this question and use that when giving you a score on your responses. So again, if you've got an open-ended question and it needs to be marked as single most important, you just check that box here, save. And as you can see here, it actually says SMIQ, single most important question. So you'll know that you have one marked, and you'll know which one it is. So that's the questionnaire. If you wanted to add like some, grease the wheels questions, or if you wanted to add some demographic type questions, this is where you would do that. And then it's as simple as adding your question here, and then adding your options. Very simple to set the questionnaire up. And you can also, for every type of multiple choice question, you can either make it required, and you can add the other option. So if someone were to choose something other than man or woman, you would give them the option to fill that in, and it opens up a text box when they choose it. All right, I'm going to back out of that. So once you're done setting up your questionnaire, you've got the questions for your survey in place, your next step is to add a contact information screen or an opt-in screen. And this is where you're going to get the contact info from the person taking your survey. And as you can see here, it looks very similar to the welcome page, right? Because you can do the same amount of customization on your contact information page that you could on the welcome screen. You can change your headline. You can add a subhead. You can also add an image or a video. You can have as much copy as you want. You can ask for name, email address. You can even ask for a phone number. And here's what's important to know about the phone number option. If you use it, Bucket will actually use the phone number field to help in scoring your responses as well. So if you don't have it, it won't add that additional scoring to it. But if you do have it, then Bucket will automatically begin scoring the quality of your responses based on people who add their phone number as well as their email into your reporting. So you save that. And then the last step here is your thank you page. So you've gotten your welcome page if you chose to use one. You've done your survey. You've got your contact info page up, and now you just want to make a thank you page. If you don't use a custom thank you page, a Bucket just defaults to just a kind of a screen that just says thank you for taking the survey. But if you create a custom thank you page by dragging the thank you page over here, let's see if you've ever seen anything like this before. That's right. It's exactly the same as the welcome screen and the contact info. You've got the same customization options here. And there's one difference, though. On the thank you page, you have the ability to have a call to action button. And on that button, you can send your survey takers to any URL you want. So in this case, at the end of this survey, we give you the option to go and schedule a call with a Bucket specialist. Like I promised earlier in this webinar, this is where you'll go to do that. So I've got the link to our bucket.io schedule software there, but you could do something like, put a download, and they could download, if you've got some kind of freebie, send them to a coupon, send them to your social media profile. You can send them anywhere on the thank you page here. Or if you don't want to send them anywhere, you just turn the button off by sliding the this green slider over. Then you'll save your page, and that's it. That is how you build out the bulk of your discovery survey. The next step, the next part of the workflow, of course, like I mentioned earlier, is the design phase. And in the design phase, you can do things like add a logo to your survey. You can add background images, and I'm going to walk you through how to do all of those things here. So if you were to click on header where it says upload a logo image, boom, you can have a logo here. The same thing with your background image color. If you don't have an image, you can always change the color of the background. You can also change the template or the palette of your fonts and your writing by clicking on the color section. So if you don't like the coloring of the font, you can come in here and make those changes. Same thing with the button. If you add a navigation menu, you can change the color of that as well. So again, and here's something I want to point out too. All of these design elements, so the background image, the logo, these are all interchangeable. These are all specific to this survey. So that way, if let's say you work with clients, you can have a logo in survey number 1 for client number 1, right? Or if you had another client that you needed to do a survey for or a segmentation funnel for, again, each funnel and each survey is completely separate. So you can have as many different looking funnels as you need. And the reason I point that out is I know a lot of people will want to build a survey or a segmentation funnel for other people, and the ability to white label each one is an important option. So I'm going to save the changes, and now that we've completed the design aspect, we're going to move into the configure phase. There are some very important things that need to be changed and updated on every survey and every segmentation funnel that you use here. Okay, the first one is this meta information. As you can see here, it says get live one-on-one help with bucket.io. That doesn't default to that. You have to actually change that. The default just says something like bucket.io and gives zero description of what your survey or your segmentation funnel is about. The importance of changing this has everything to do with what people see when you paste the link in social and in some email environments. So if you were to paste this link to your survey and you didn't change this, all they would see is bucket.io surveys and segmentation funnels. They wouldn't know that if I click this link, I'm going to be able to get live one-on-one help with bucket.io, and that I can schedule my call with the bucket.io specialist here. You see what I'm saying? But now, when I paste this link, if I were to put it on Facebook or send it to you in email, you would have this description along with the link. Okay, so it's very important. Again, I hate to repeat over and over and over again, but it's very important to make this change so that when you're out there sending this to people and letting them know about your survey, you've got this is set up correctly. Again, this is where you can change your survey name, and I'm going to do that now. Instead of having a bunch of different copies of this thing sitting out there, instead what I'm going to do, I'm going to call this one-on-one bucket call 4 p.m. So this way later on, I'll know this was this survey, right? And I'm going to save the changes. A couple of other little options here. You can change your target number of surveys. So if your target is 250, then bucket.io will handle the scoring with the target goal of 250. If it's less, if it's like 20 or 100 or 1,000, again, Bucket will base the scoring off of your target number. You can add things like a progress bar to your survey if you'd like. You can add continue and back buttons if you want to give control over if you want to let them go back or forwards in your survey. You can add tracking code, and you can also add an image. This is another thing too. This has to do with your marketing. If you put an image on here, and Bucket gives you the recommended size, if you add an image there, when you paste this link to your survey in a social media environment like Facebook or Twitter or really any of them, then it'll also bring up an image to go along with it. So again, just better marketing practice is to make these edits before you start sending them out to people. Another part of the configuration is your integration. All right, I'm going to touch briefly on this right now. I know a lot of times, in the early phases, this is kind of where some of the bigger questions are. We have a lot of help, both in different webinars like this one, but also in our help menu to guide you through this process. I'm going to step you through it real quick here, just so you can understand. The reason you would want to do an integration using Zapier is because Bucket needs to send the information that you collect to your email service provider if you want to follow up with that person after they've either completed a survey or gone through a segmentation funnel. And this is how you will connect to your email service provider. So what happens is Bucket takes the information that your either your survey taker or your segmentation funnel user fills in, stores that, and then sends it to Zapier, and then Zapier sends it to your email service provider. I just kind of like to double that up so you understand why this is set up this way. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm clicking Integrate to go and set that connection up. It's going to be different. If, let's say, you're an Infusionsoft user, it's going to be different for you than it would be someone who uses Aweber to do their email marketing, or different than someone who uses MailChimp or GetResponse or ActiveCampaign. It's going to be different for everyone, so I'm not going to go, like I said, all the way through and setting one up. I'm just going to show you the beginning phases so you can see how to connect bucket.io to Zapier, and then show you kind of how to get started with that next step. So once you click Integrate, you're going to see this message here. And basically, it's Bucket telling you that Zapier requires you to have at least one lead in order to do a test. So you can continue with a test lead, and that's honestly, it's the fastest, easiest way to get moving, is to choose continue with a test lead. Then you're going to be taken to the Zapier screen. And if you don't already have a free or even a premium Zapier account, you can sign up to accept the invite. What you'll want to do, though, you'll want to do it this way. You'll want to scroll down whether you already have an account or not, and either choose Login to accept or Sign up to accept. If you're already logged in, it'll take you straight to the screen. I'm on a new computer, so I've got to see. I don't even know if I remember my password. I'm going to try to log in here. Let's go with the. Did it work? It did. So once you log in to accept, this is the screen that you are going to see. My first Zap with bucket.io app. It'll say that even if it's not your first Zap, you'll always get this screen when you're going to set up a new integration. And you'll want to set up an integration with every survey and every funnel that you've got, or segmentation funnel, because again, each Zap connection is connected to a specific funnel or survey. So your first step would be to create the Zap, and then here is where you're going to choose the funnel or the survey that you're going to be connecting to. Since we're doing a Discover, we're going to click that. And then if you already have your bucket, if you have your bucket connected, you would just go to the next. If you don't, if you haven't yet connected your bucket account to Zapier, it's really simple. The first thing you want to do is jump back over to Bucket, click on your name, and you only have to do this part once. Click Account Settings, and then you'll scroll down and copy your API key. And you see where it says connect to an account. Then you'll just paste your API key in this screen that comes up here. So you just paste that in right there, and then hit yes, continue. I'm not going to because you can see here it's already been created. Again, you only have to do that one time for your account. Even if you're doing a different Zapier funnel for clients, you only need to connect it one time. I'm going to click save and continue. Okay, so since I told Zapier that I was going to be connecting a Discover survey, what I'm going to do now is choose the Discover survey that I'm going to be integrating. And as you can see, we've got the one-on-one bucket call 4 p.m. That's the funnel we're working in, so I'm going to click continue. And then here, it's going to do the test lead, just to make sure everything is good and the test is successful. So now you go on to the next step, and this is where you will connect to your email service provider, whoever you do your email marketing with. So you can see you've got ActiveCampaign. If you've got Entreport, you could do, if I could type, it doesn't freeze on me. Oh, is it going to freeze? There we go. So you could do MailChimp, Infusionsoft. Again, any email provider that Zapier connects with, which is almost all of them. I mean, I've seen some really out there ones, some super niche email providers, and Zapier has a connection. So it's very likely that if you've got like a standard email service provider, Zapier will be able to connect to your provider. So that's it. So once you do that connection, I'm just going to click on ActiveCampaign here real quick just to show you kind of that next step. So from there, all of these are always going to be different. So the ActiveCampaign is different from Entreport, is different from Infusionsoft. So I'll let you use our help system, and or even on the one-on-one call if you want help connecting to your specific provider. That's definitely something that we could do on that call. But yeah, so that those next few steps is just connecting to your email provider. Once that's done, you can come back and you're ready to start sending people to your survey. And then the way that it works is Bucket will take the user info. I know I've said this before, I just want to say it one more time. Bucket takes the info that the person puts in, sends it to Zapier, and then Zapier sends it to your email service provider. So that's how you'll generate the lead, so that you can market to them through your email provider, through email marketing system.
Hey Jeremy, it's EJ here. Just wanted to pop in, getting this question a lot in the chat, especially from people that I think were able to join us a couple minutes late. This information is being recorded, and we will send it out to everybody. So if you're not able to follow along with everything in detail at this time, know that you will get a recording of this, so you can go back through it at any time. That's all.
Absolutely. Yeah, not only that, we'll definitely have the recording, and we'll send it to you through email, and again, make this available to you. Not only that, but even if you go through it again, the recording, we have these every Tuesday as well. So anytime you need just a refresher, or if you just want to watch somebody do it live, then you're always welcome to join us on these calls. So after you've integrated, another option here is you can integrate your Facebook pixel. I'm not going to go too deep on it right now. I'll show you a little bit further into it on the segmentation funnel, but you can pixel your visitors who are taking your survey. You can pixel them on the segmentation funnel as well. And what that means by pixeling is setting them up so that you can come back later and market to anyone who's been through one of your surveys or through one of your segmentation funnels. I'll get into some of this other stuff in the segmentation funnel as well, but yeah, you can definitely add your Google Analytics, and you can pass variables through your survey and your segmentation funnel. So Save those changes. After you get through with all your configurations, the next and final step of the workflow is to click Publish. I'm just going to go ahead and say yes to that. That was asking me if I wanted to save my changes. And again, you'll get one last chance to say, okay, I want this to be a full page or a button. Then to actually do the publish, you'll choose one of the domains. We have several to choose from here. And then you'll click the slider that says Publish or Discover Survey. Now, if you left anything out in your build section, like in this case, we didn't put a welcome page, you're going to get this. It's okay. You don't have to have a welcome page, but it does want to know, like sometimes you won't put a contact info screen, or sometimes you won't use a custom thank you page. It always will let you know, hey, don't forget, you didn't put that there. And so you can either go back to build page and finish the funnel, or you could say, I understand, and publish anyways. And that's it. Now you have your link. You can hit copy, and now you have your link to send out to your audience through email, through however you want. That's the link that you'll send to get them to come and take your survey. I'm going to give you guys just a quick look at it. Sorry, it's taking a little. This is, I think I'm on a little bit slower of a connection here. But so you can see here, this is what the completed survey looks like. And you'll be seeing that soon because this is the link I'm going to send you to get live one-on-one help. And so let's jump back over real quick to this thing. So the next section I want to walk you through, and I want to walk through this pretty quickly because we still have quite a bit to cover. I'm going to walk you through the discovery reports, and because once you're collecting the info, you want to be able to use that, and Bucket makes it very simple, and I'm going to walk you through what all is available to you, so that when you start getting your own survey responses, you'll know where to go to find what people are putting in. So what I've done here is I'm back on the Discover screen of this top menu here, and so I've got access to all the surveys that I have live right now. To get to the reporting section of your survey, just find the survey you wanted to look at and click on the Analytics. And then that will bring up the reporting. And so you're going to get some really good information that you can start using right away. So first of all, you're going to see kind of the performance of the survey itself. How many people saw it versus how many people actually participated in the survey. How many people started the survey and how many people actually completed it. And then if you have an opt-in screen, how many of those people actually opted in for email or phone contact. And this is great information to use because if you're seeing one of these numbers out of whack, then you can say, well, I need to fix something. I need to fix my, let's say you had a welcome page, and if you had a low number of people completing, you need to fix what happens on the welcome page, or even that first question, if you're sending them straight to your questions. Same thing with completions. If people are dropping off, you can actually even scroll down and see, hey, how many people answered question 1, question 2, question 3, so you can see if people are dropping out at a certain spot. Then you'll know you can go and fix that so that your survey operates at its optimum. You also have the word cloud here. And the way the word cloud works is it takes all the information that people are putting into your open-ended, your long text forms, and it takes those words, just like most people know how a word cloud works. Basically, it takes the words that are most often used and displays those for you right here. So you can start getting an idea of what the buzzwords are in your market. And to make it even easier and more customizable, you can actually come in here and deselect or select certain words so you can kind of see how those words stack up. So let's say we took out the word how, up, getting, set, And now you can start seeing some of the key buzzwords, right? These are what people are wanting to know when they're taking our surveys. These are some of the big words coming up: Zapier, survey, segmentation. You see what I'm saying? And that's you'll be able to do that in your own once you start sending people to your survey. Another thing you can do is actually see the full-blown responses. And I mentioned this earlier, but Bucket does the scoring for you. So what they'll do is we've got, the algorithms that Bucket follows for giving you a hyper-responsive versus a non-hyper-responsive score. And that's a lot of it's based on how much was completed, whether or not a phone number was included, an email address was included, and all of those things. That's information that you don't have to go do on your own. Bucket will do that for you. And but you can come in here and you can read the exact responses. You can also download into a CSV. So if you wanted to use that information in your favorite spreadsheet, or if you wanted to compile it some other place for even more usage, you could do that here as well. So that is the discovery survey reporting. As you can see, that now you can not only collect the information, but you've got a lot of tools at your disposal to start making use of it right away. All right, so that's surveys. That's, we built a survey, we've looked at the reporting. Now we want to get into a segmentation funnel. I'm going to walk through building this segmentation funnel really quick. And if you're not familiar with segmentation funnels, basically what it does is it allows your users, your audience, as they come to your funnel, rather than just giving you their email address and contact info, now you can actually begin to segment them. Let them tell you what their problems are so that you can drive them to a customized outcome or a customized solution. And basically, you're able to customize your sales presentation and your marketing to a specific person based on the choices that they make in your funnel. And we're going to get deep into how those work. But let me show you a couple of high-performing segmentation funnels just to give you an idea of how these things work. I pulled up a couple of these for the call just so you can see. So in this case, we're looking at a tennis product, and their segmentation funnel has been used to generate tens of thousands of leads. And so where they start with their segmentation is the very first part of their survey funnel is, are you a man or a woman? Instantly segmented. Now they know how to talk to you as a man or talk to you as a woman. Now that you're able to choose your age range. So now they know they're talking to a man in his 30s who has an NTRP rating of, I don't know, pick the lowest one. And so now they know exactly who they're talking to as you move through this segmentation funnel. Now they know whether your issue is with poaching, serving, returning, or etc. So I would just choose serving, and then taking you even further into dialing in what your problem is, so that by the time they make their presentation to you, they know exactly what to tell you to get you to either opt in or purchase their product, right? And that's exactly what you're going to want to do to drive your conversions up. It's a lot better than trying to do some one-size-fits-all approach where you end up spending a lot more per lead and all of that. So I don't want to go too deep into that, but that's how the segmentation funnel works. Another example is Michael Hyatt has what's called the platform assessment, and it's the exact same thing. What he's doing is, once you start the survey or the assessment, it's a segmentation funnel, right? So now the first thing you're going to tell him is, I don't know what my message is or who my readers are, right? So now you're all of a sudden, now you're a specific type of customer. You click next, and now you're becoming an even more identified type of customer. And the more questions you answer, the more he knows about which solution he needs to present you with to help you with your issue. And again, that's how a segmentation funnel works. The survey lets you ask the questions. The segmentation funnel lets you prescribe the solution. So let's dive into bucket.io real quick. I'm going to show you how to build one of those. I've already got one built here, but I'm going to walk you through the elements of it, kind of like we did with the Discover survey there. So we've got this test segmentation funnel here. And so what I'm going to do, it's creating a new one is the exact same thing. You do it the same way as you would a discovery survey. There's a couple of extra options though. So with the discovery, you only had access to a full page or a button. With the segmentation funnel, you have access to entry, splash, and exit pop-ups. Again, what happens is at the end of these is when you hit publish, what bucket.io will do is give you the embed code for an entry page, or your button, or your splash page, or your exit pop-up. For the full page, which is what we're going to do, Bucket will give you that link like you saw before, and then you send people directly to that. These are all done as full pagers here, both of the two examples that I showed you. And the example we're going to walk through now is also going to be a full pager. So I'm going to click Edit. Now, here's something I'm glad that the screen popped up because I want you to see this. Once you create a funnel and a survey, once people start putting their responses in, if you make an edit to that funnel or the survey, you're going to lose the responses inside of it. So what you always want to do, if you've got several responses and you don't want to lose them, is you're going to want to clone the funnel in order to edit. This one's only got one, so it's a test lead. So I'm just going to put, I understand, I'd like to continue. But just so you know, that is why this screen is popping up here. Yes, I'm sure. They make double sure so you don't end up losing the data on accident. All right, so as you can see here, for the segmentation funnel, the build screen is exactly the same as it was on the survey. But as you can see, in this case, we're using a welcome page. This is, like I said, this is like a regular landing page. So if you use like ClickFunnels or lead pages, this is exactly like that. This will be the page that you'll be marketing. This is going to be the first page that people will see. And just like all the other screens, it has complete customization. This is what the video will look like. This is a YouTube video. And then the call to action button takes them to the first question on your segmentation funnel. So I'm going to back out of here. I just wanted you to see that because we are actually using it on this one. Now, the elements are all the same. So what we're looking at here is we're going to be, most of the time you're going to be using, for your segmentation funnel, you're going to be using the radio button, the either or. And then what you'll do is, again, just like I explained earlier, you're going to put the question in, and then you're going to put all the options that you're going to be offering to your users. Now, there's one thing I'm doing here that I didn't do on the discovery, and that is use this Zapier tag. Okay, so what you'll do when you create a Zapier tag is later on when you go to connect your funnel to Zapier, you'll have the option of choosing the tags to your, and apply those to either a field or a tag or a column, whatever it's called in your email marketing service. You'll be able to apply this Zapier tag to that field or tag or whatever it's called. And what that'll do is Bucket will tell Zapier, hey, this person said they were hitting my goals and deadlines. And so that value will pass from Bucket to Zapier, and then Zapier will send that to your email marketing provider. That way, later on, when you're deciding, okay, I only want to talk to all of my hitting goals and deadlines people with a certain message, you'll be able to call those people up in your email marketing service because you sent their answer to them through Zapier. And the way you do that is through the Zapier tag. One of the other things here, and I want to point this out, is that you can have an other option. So if you do want to have have them add a value, you can do that. I'm going to cancel this. All right. So once you add your questions in, your next step is to add your lead capture pages. Now, you don't need multiple lead capture pages. You could get away with just using one. But if you really want to dial in your messaging and obtain as high of a conversion rate as possible, you can customize the opt-in page to the response that the person gives. All right. So like in this case, we've got this lead capture page that says, you can use this product that you're about to opt in for to start hitting your goals and deadlines today. And it does that for each of the options that are chosen, or that the person can select. So what's really working in your industry today, and so on. So, and again, before I back out of here, I want to walk through this with you real quick. So as you can see, the opt-in page is the exact same as all the other pages. You have complete access to customizing the full thing. And then finally, you have your outcome pages. Now, this is where you do want more than one outcome page here. So you only need one opt-in, but you typically will need more than one outcome page. And the way the outcome page works is, so you can see here, we've got hitting my goals and deadlines. That's an outcome if they chose the hitting my goals and deadlines. Same thing with knowing what's really working today, getting detailed feedback on my business, and so on. So the way that this works is once you go to create an outcome page, you have two options here. You can either A, create the opt-in or the outcome page inside of Bucket itself, or if you already have a sales page for each type of customer that you work with, you can use an external redirect and then just put the URL in the link here, and then it will automatically redirect them to that page based on the options that they chose in the actual funnel itself, in the segmentation portion of the funnel. So I'm going to go back to outcome page. I'm going to show you, again, just kind of what it looks like. It's exactly the same as all the others. As you can see here, you'll have complete control over your copy. Again, you can add a video, and this one is from Wistia. So like I mentioned earlier, any video sharing service you can that has embed code, you can use it in bucket.io. Add as much copy as you want. And again, kind of like the thank you pages that I showed you earlier from the survey, you can put a button and a URL so that they can go out. In this case, it goes to an order form. You can send it straight to PayPal. You can send it to an Infusionsoft form, Samcart, Stripe, whatever you want to use as a checkout. You have the ability to do that from this page if you're using your segmentation funnel to sell something. All right. So we've got our questions, we've got our outcome pages, but how do we know which person goes to which outcome page? And that is where the magic starts to happen, right? So what you'll do is you'll come back to your question after you've created your opt-in pages, after you've created your outcome pages, you'll come back to your questions, and then the ones that are actually going to make a difference in the outcome, you'll come over here and you'll click this mapping icon. It looks like a little funnel. It's orange funnel. And here's where you get to choose. If the person says hitting my goals and deadlines, where am I going to send them? To the hitting my goals and deadlines outcome. The same thing with all these others. I'm going to click them off just so you can see it's as simple as a drag and drop. Now, I set this funnel up a little bit tricky so you can see that there are other ways of using bucket.io. So in this case, I've got two types of overwhelm. And so if someone tells me they're feeling overwhelmed on what to do next, I don't want to send them, I can't send them to both, I can only send them to one, right? So in this question, I don't send them anywhere. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to show you what I do instead. So if you have a question that needs to have deeper detail, you'll use what's called branching logic. And so what you'll do is you'll come over here and you'll click this little blue branch, and then you'll say, hey, if somebody clicks this number D, option D, I'm going to send them to another question. But everyone else, I'm just going to send them to another part of the funnel. In this case, the end of the funnel, because there's only the one question, right? So then I'm going to save this, and I'm going to go to this question 2. One more question. Where are you getting overwhelmed the most, right? So then I'm going to do what I just did on the first question as far as mapping, and I'm going to map each of those 2 options to their specific outcome page. So technology will go to tech overwhelm, business ideas will go to idea overwhelm. And that's it. Now I've got a segmentation funnel that, based on what the person chooses, I'm sending them to not just a customized opt-in screen to get their email and contact information, but a customized sales page at the end to get them to purchase, in this case, the Tony book. And so now that you've got the segmentation funnel built, again, just like with the survey, you have the option of going in and adding those design details. Again, everything else is pretty much identical to setting up the survey. There is a couple of different things that I want to walk you through here that I think could be valuable for you. Again, logo, footer. One thing I didn't point out on the Discovery survey that I definitely want to point out on the segmentation funnel is your ability to add footer navigation. If you're going to be marketing your funnel out there, you want to be able to have, privacy policies and things like that. So you've got the ability to put the actual, anchor text and the URL, and it'll show up across the bottom of your segmentation funnel. And if you don't like that green nav bar at the bottom, remember before I told you, you can come in here and you can change that color to whatever you want it to be. You can even make it white if you just want the links at the bottom. Let's save these changes. Jump back over to configure. I apologize for going a little bit long on this. The computer it looks like my connection might be a little bit slow. So everything is still the same. The integration, you'll integrate exactly the same way with Zapier. The Facebook pixel, I want to dive a little bit deeper into it here just so you can see what's available to you. So you'll paste your Facebook pixel code in here. And we've got a help section that will walk you through doing this if you've never done it before, like where to find it inside of Facebook and how to use it. And then what you have the option to do, and this is so cool, you have the ability to target pixel, drop a pixel, and build your audience based on the questions that and the responses that they give you to the questions. So when somebody clicks hitting my goals and deadlines, you can actually mark that as your hitting goals and deadlines person, so that in Facebook, now you can remarket to that person using your goals and deadlines marketing materials, or knowing what's really working today, and so on. So you've got the ability to configure your pixels here. You can also add your lead events so that you can, if you are running ads to your segmentation funnel, you can set the goals up inside of it, so you can mark it as a conversion. Which is again is also very awesome, so that you can always be running traffic to these things. The field logic option here gives you the ability to pass whatever someone says into other parts of your segmentation funnel. So if someone says, let's say we have an option to choose man or woman, kind of like they did here. Actually, let's kind of go back to the beginning of this one, and I'll show you how that works. So on this one, well, when it says I'm a man, in my 30s, you can see here they're using pictures of men. So you have the ability to pass through these values. So in here, it would say, yeah, as a man, which of the following would you say you struggle with the most? You have the ability to pass these things through using this field logic here. You also can add your Google Analytics. I don't have the Google Analytics code already installed here, but it's literally just a matter of going into Google Analytics, grabbing the code, and pasting it in here. And you can fire off events just like with the Facebook pixel code. You can do the exact same thing with Google Analytics. Again, we're looking at giving you every tool possible to let you improve your conversions. That's what all this stuff is for, including the UTM variables. You can actually pass through data from the beginning of the funnel to the very end of the funnel. And there's a bunch of different options here. We've got, again, more training on this. I don't want to go too deep into it here, but again, you have the ability of passing the values that are in URLs all the way through the funnel. So for all kinds of tracking purposes. Once you're done with the configuring, it's exactly the same as with the survey. You just come over to Publish. Choose what type of segmentation funnel if you need to change it from what you chose in the beginning. Choose the URL. We've already done it here. And publish, and then you've got your link. And you can come back over here. And your segmentation funnel is ready to show the world.
Hey everyone, this is EA here, just popping in. Hey Jeremy, sorry about that. We know that we're running just a little bit long, guys. There's a lot of really good information, so we're just going to keep going. As we kind of move throughout the rest of the day, if you do continue to have questions, please go ahead and keep popping them in the chat box so that we can try to answer some more of those as we get into the Q&A portion of our segment. But keep going, Jeremy.
Sounds good. So, and we're going to get to the Q&A portion real quick. I do want to walk you guys through the segmentation funnel reports. Again, the big idea here is to give you the tools you need to always be optimizing your surveys, your funnels to get the most out of them, right? And so after you've published and you've got your segmentation funnel up and running, and people start responding and using, whether it's an assessment or a quiz, however you have it set up, once they start using it, you're going to start having access to the analytics for that funnel. And you access your reporting the same way you do with discovery surveys. You'll just come up to segment, choose the funnel that you want to analyze, come to analytics, and you get all the details that you need to make this thing better and better. So here at the snapshot, you can see how many people have participated, how many completions, and then what the opt-in rate is. So mine's a 0 because this one doesn't have an opt-in option at the end. It just takes them straight to the custom outcome. But as you can see here, you also have conversion statistics for each of your questions. So you can see 94 people saw this first question, and 74, about 79% completed it, also almost 80%. But only 80% of those people completed the next one. So if that number would have had a massive drop, or let's say this dropped to 30%, we would know we have an issue with this question on Q2, right? So again, you've got this stuff right in front of you, and you'll always be able to make your decisions based on actual numbers. Instead of guessing if something's working or not, you can see each step of the segmentation funnel in real time. You can also see the number of people that hit your specific outcomes. This is super important, right? Because if you see most people going to one outcome and not the other, maybe again, do you need to adjust your outcomes and the options that you're giving inside your a segmentation funnel. You also have the option of looking at the specific responses. Again, it's more of like a deep dive. If you wanted to, you can also, just like with the discovery funnel or discovery survey, you can click the download CSV and use that information in any other tool that you use, like your favorite spreadsheet or whatever, if there is such thing as a favorite spreadsheet, which I don't think there is. And that's it. That's the reporting. Again, super quick. Everything's right in front of your face to make decisions. And those decisions, again, we give you that because we want you constantly optimizing and having the highest converting segmentation funnel and discovery survey as possible. Because when you tie the two together, you've got your discovery survey. It gives you the insights on what language to use. With the word cloud, you're able to use those buzzwords throughout your segmentation funnel, so that you can take what you've learned and customize that experience. And the more custom the experience, obviously, the higher your conversions. So that is how you build a discovery survey. That's how you build a segmentation funnel. And we've looked at all the different ways of checking out the reports. And at this point, I mean, you should be able to go and at least know what you're looking at, right? So what I want to do now is I want to do a quick Q&A. If anything didn't get answered through chat, I'm more than happy to walk through those. But in case you need to jump off of here, like I promised earlier, you can get on a one-on-one call with a bucket specialist, whether it's myself or one of our other specialists. It's totally free, and all we're going to do on that call is walk you through whatever issue you're having. So if honestly you just don't know what you don't know and you want someone to look at whatever setup you do have, this is the perfect opportunity, right? For someone to say, oh, look, why don't you try this? Or again, just make sure you're getting the exact support you need to get either your first discovery survey or your first segmentation funnel up and running. So let me actually jump back over here. I'm going to get you that link because we just built it. Come back over here. And if ever you need the link to any of your surveys or your funnels, you don't have to go dive all the way through it. You can just grab it right here from the very front. See here? And I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste this into the chat really quick. Paste this in, send to all. And if you guys would, real quick, can you make sure that that's showing up for everybody? Can you just say, yes, I see the link? Connor McGregor got it. I'm glad Connor got it. We got Julie and everyone got it. Okay, great. I'm glad you guys have the link there. All right. So like I said, we only have so many spots in there. I mean, we are limited in the number of people. So if you do want to talk one-on-one live, I would go ahead and do that ASAP. Here, let me bounce back over here. If right now you're not ready for a one-on-one call, that's fine. Like I said, we've got our knowledge base that you can have access to. We also have the in-app messaging. And what that is inside of Bucket, you have access to our support team. And on every computer except for this one, you have the there's supposed to be a little icon here. If not, just click on Help, and that will take you to the to the knowledge base. And then, as you can see here, this little icon at the bottom, you would click that if you want to talk to one of our support representatives. And so if you're going through it and something's not making sense, or you can't remember what you saw or heard, or something doesn't seem like it's working right, just jump on there and let the support analysts know, and they'll be happy to walk you through it right there inside the app itself. If you've got kind of a more advanced question or something that you think is going to need some additional help, you can also shoot us an email to support@bucket.io. All right. So let's do just a quick Q&A. I know I've taken a little bit longer here because of a slow connection, but I do want to do just a little bit of Q&A if there's anything that didn't get answered on the call while we were going through it. So if you have a question, again, you can either jump on and schedule a call with a specialist. Again, we'll make 100% sure it gets answered there. But if there's anything that's standing out in the chat right now, I'll be happy to answer that.
Sure, Jeremy. So we've got a couple here that I think you can knock out pretty quickly that have been asked by several people. So and they're a little all over the map. So we'll ask them one by one. So at a high level, what is Zapier?
Okay. So Zapier, it only does one thing. It takes information from one program or one website and sends that information to another website. So it's a website connector, basically. So we've got bucket.io is one site, and your email service provider is another website. So if let's say you use Infusionsoft or MailChimp or Aweber, those are two different websites, right? Bucket.io is one website, and the other one is another website. So what Zapier does is it takes whatever somebody puts into Bucket, whatever someone fills in on your survey or your segmentation funnel, Bucket gives that info to Zapier. Zapier takes it from Bucket and gives it to your email marketing service. So if you use Infusionsoft, Zapier would take the info from bucket.io and give that to Infusionsoft so that you can start emailing the person who filled in their info, right? So if they filled out a survey, you could send an email that says, hey, thanks for taking the survey. Here's what you get. Or if they completed a segmentation funnel, so let's go back over to like this Get the Business Mastery book. Yes, I want it. Hitting my goals and deadlines. Once I fill in my name and email and hit continue, Bucket would tell Zapier, hey, Jeremy just gave us this email address and told us that he wanted help with hitting his goals and deadlines. Tell that to ActiveCampaign. And so Zapier would take everything that I just filled in, give that to ActiveCampaign so that Tony could start emailing me about this Business Mastery book and how it relates to me and hitting my goals and deadlines. Does that make sense?
It does. I think that's a really good explanation, and I think people are going to be able to follow that. So thanks for explaining that. The next kind of core question that I'm seeing from a lot of different people are, what are custom domains and how do they relate?
Yeah, so you have the option of adding your own custom domain. I'm going to back up into here. So if you go to settings, you can come in and add any domain you want. So you can add a custom domain. You've got the setup instructions. Again, the fact that you have setup instructions on the screen, I would definitely follow through those. And we walk you step by step through setting up your custom domain. But what happens is once you add a custom domain in, when you go to publish, instead of choosing the one of the bucket surveys or bucket pages or whatever one of the default domains, you'll have the ability to choose your custom domain. And so that's how that works. So you can use any domain that you have access to. So in my case, if I've got jeremyestes.com, if I wanted to apply that custom domain inside of Bucket, then I could just, all of my surveys or my segmentation funnels would look like they come from jeremyestes.com. And this is where you do it. So you would go to settings, custom domains, and then just follow the setup instructions for adding your custom domain. Does that make sense?
So the next, Yeah, I think that's very straightforward. Thank you, Jeremy. And we also have some additional documentation on this through our FAQ documentation as well. So,
That's right.
Jeremy,
And literally,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's literally when you go to do it, you don't even have to go find it in the knowledge base. It's the set of instructions are the button is right there on the screen.
So the next question that we get, and we'll just answer a couple more here, guys, is it looks like people are still looking for the link to make sure they're able to set up the one-on-one sessions. Could you either drop that in the chat, or maybe we can either post it in the chat, or we can get it over on our Facebook page so people can know where they can go find it.
I sure can. Let me click back over to that. Wait, it's over here. Looks like somebody found it. I'm going to get the link copy, and then I'm going to click on chat this time. I think last time I did the Q&A section. All right, so I'm going to hit this again. Try that. Can you see it?
Yes, that's great. I think, and people can see it, and they should be able to pull it from there for sure.
Awesome.
So, Jeremy, we're a little over time here. Let's maybe get one or two more questions in, and then if there's anything else, let's finish this up with them knowing where they can get additional support. So we've got a lot. So we've got a lot of questions here, and maybe you can clear this up. So there's a lot of questions here about the difference between lead pages or Infusionsoft, even some Mailchimp questions. Can bucket.io interact with all of these services? Is it just some of them? And this really gets back to kind of part of our Zapier question before, right?
Yeah. So any email service that Zapier can connect with, you can connect to bucket.io. I mean because that's the beauty of using Zapier. And the thing about Zapier, I'm not kidding. I have seen the most obscure platforms have a Zapier connection, like some in different languages that have zero U.S. support that I didn't think would be there have been in there. You can go to Zapier, and as you could see earlier when we were looking at it. Let me let's kind of go back over to Zapier real fast, just so you can see what I'm talking about. Inside Zapier, they have the search, so where you can just type in whatever your service is, you'll be able to find it through Zapier. If they don't offer it, then that's the only reason you wouldn't be able to connect Bucket, is that for some off chance that Zapier doesn't have that integration. That's the only reason why you wouldn't be able to connect it to Bucket. Now, I do want to take a step back. If we're talking lead pages, ClickFunnels, Unbounce, or any other website that's like a landing page, you could potentially use Bucket to replace those. You don't need to send information to lead pages, right? I mean, that's not an email marketing service. But if you wanted to keep your lead pages, let's say you've got this amazing high converting ClickFunnels landing page, and you can't make it look exactly the same with Bucket, then what you could do is use the button functionality, or just put the link to your segmentation funnel on those pages. Because if you did a button and just pasted the button code into your ClickFunnels or your WordPress or your whatever your landing page builder is, you paste that in, then it would just make it as a pop-up. Your segmentation portion of your funnel would just be done through the pop-up. So that's you're not going to need Zapier to connect to ClickFunnels or lead pages or anything like that. You only need Zapier to connect to your email service provider. And then again, just to find out if Zapier supports your email service, you would just go over to Zapier, and in fact, I think if you just go to oh my goodness, nothing quite as awesome as the slow internet connection. Um, in fact, I think you just kind of go to Zapier.com. You wouldn't even need to go to this part. Hold on. Whatever. You would just go to Zapier.com and I'm going to leave and just search for your specific, email provider here. And like I said, I mean, they've got thousands and thousands of them. And so I would be very surprised if they didn't have yours. But here's where you would just go to Zapier.com. Once you're logged in, you'll be able to just search for your email service provider by name. So.
Got it. So it sounds like, and just so that we're clear here, so either via an integration with Zapier or using the embed or what we call the button functionality via bucket.io, you're really going to be able to integrate with most technologies out there, correct?
Yep.
Got it.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, guys. Well, we are about 20 minutes past. I know that Jeremy's posted this link here. Let me specify that those times and those sessions with our specialists do go fast. So please click through the link and make sure that you set up a time to meet with us one-on-one. That way we can answer some of your questions, especially some of these more in-depth questions that we're not going to be able to get through on this webinar. So with that said, Jeremy, as we close out, where are the places that these guys can go to get additional support? And then why don't we mention our webinars that we have every Tuesday one more time?
That's right. So again, you have access to our knowledge base where a lot of these things are covered there. So if you're going through and you're working on something and you just can't remember what we talked about on this webinar, chances are very high it's in the knowledge base. So you just click on help at the top and that'll take you to the knowledge base screen. Also, if let's say you just can't remember what to look for in the knowledge base, you've got access to the in-app messaging, or you can shoot us an email at support@bucket.io. We've got the link out there for the one-on-one call, and every Tuesday we have these calls. We have sometimes, and most of the times, we also have a more advanced session. So something that would cover Zapier in depth, right? If you wanted to get on that call, you could enroll for that, or some of the more advanced segmentation funnel stuff or reporting type webinars. Every Tuesday we have those, and we let you know through both email or on our Facebook page. So if you haven't clicked like to follow us on Facebook yet, definitely do that. It's what is it? Facebook.com/bucket.io, right? I'm like 99% sure. I'm like 99% sure that's what it is.
You did well, Jeremy. You remembered. Good job.
Anyways, yeah. So, and again, we make those announcements on Facebook, well before the event itself. So make sure you follow us there. We also email you, so check your emails. Make sure you whitelist bucket.io because we also announce any upgrades that we do in the software. So if you already have got an email from us, make sure you whitelist us so that you get those delivered to your inbox. And that's it. That's what you can expect from Bucket. Again, we try to make sure you're always moving forward. So anytime you're not, just get in touch with us in one of these ways, and we'll be happy to get you moving in a forward direction. With all that, thank you so much for getting on this call. Thank you for staying on with us past the 45-minute mark, well past the 45-minute mark. And look in your email. We will be taking this recording and delivering that. So if you need to reference anything from this call, you'll be able to do that with the recorded link. Anything else?
No, I think that's it, Jeremy. Thanks again to everybody, and once again, a special thanks to the members of the Ask Method community that joined us for this call, especially if this is one of your first calls with us. Look forward to seeing you on future webinars. Thanks, and talk to you soon.